Here we go again for the second time tonight. We've had more technical difficulties. I think we just recorded for about 40 minutes and ended up with nothing because the recorder died.
Goose egg. Battery problem.
Ugh. I'm Brett.
I'm Mark.
It's the Daily BM, number 31.5. We want to start out... that just literally took all the wind out of my sails. We, of course, want to start out by thanking every one of the men and women in uniform.
Of course.
Military, police, whatever. We love you all here and across the blue marble.
Mm-hmm.
We also quickly want to thank our sponsors, www.partylight.biz/Mary Smith for any and all candle needs. I needed one earlier today.
I think I need one in my car.
What?
I don't know if candle would be the but like, if anyone knows how to get cigarette smell out of a car, it's difficult.
Your car smells like cigarettes?
A little bit.
The Jag?
The Jag.
It'll smell more like cigarettes if you let me drive it to work. I'll smoke a half a pack on the way.
I mean, I don't mind it, but I mean...
I've never noticed it. That's because I smoke cigarettes, I guess. Also, we want to thank our other wonderful sponsor this time of year, especially when it's getting cold. It's going to be www.facebook.com/crochet by Crystal for all of your crocheting needs, be it book covers, hats, koozies, pants. Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, can you crochet me a pair of pants?
Like Kanye West has the leather jogging pants. We need the crochet.
And Flea has his stuffed animal pants.
I like that.
It's not bad. Have you ever seen them?
No. How about down pants?
Oh, like for skiing?
I don't know.
Down-filled?
Well, like a down comforter.
Those are called bibs.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have an extra special guest today. My good and close friend Jimmy from Colorado Springs is here. Jimmy, how's it going, brother?
I'm hanging in there, brother.
Dude, we have had, not including what just happened, we kind of had a disappointing day today. We had a good and a bad day. Jimmy got here, well, first of all, as Jimmy was getting here, Raj was leaving. Dude, so we were standing out in the driveway, and Raj was getting on his bike to leave, and I introduced Jimmy and Raj to each other, and they shook hands, and then Raj left. When he left, Jimmy was like, he's got hands like monkey paws.
Just those elongated palms, and his hands were really dry.
Yeah.
The first name that flashed in my head was monkey paws.
I don't often...
I don't mean to sound racist or anything.
No, it's fine. He's not racist. He's Indian. So that was probably the highlight of my day. Aside from getting to sit and shoot the shit with Jimmy, who I haven't seen or spoken to in a little while. So the first disappointment was we decided to go to Fuzzy's. That's never a disappointment. Going to Fuzzy's is always good.
Fuzzy's tacos, always good tacos, pork, beef, shrimp, fish.
Well, my first disappointment was it's getting a little chilly. I thought we'd see some hotties on the way because we do talk a lot about hot girls in this area and everything. And normally, between here and Fuzzy's, I'd fall in love at least 14 times. Yeah. Nothing. It's a fucking ghost town out there on the way. We get to Fuzzy's, then they don't have California heat tacos anymore. And there's like one hot chick at Fuzzy's. Because what I didn't realize was that today was CSU's homecoming game at 1:30. And we were there at like 12. Ghost town. Yeah. Nothing going on.
Everyone was at a bar or at the game.
Exactly.
Tailgating and whatnot.
So then I was like, I got the bright idea in my head. Well, the Playboy Mansion never disappoints. We'll just cruise by there because it's right on the way home.
Yeah.
Nothing. Dude, it was like old man's day out today.
Did you see any walkers?
Yes. There were walkers.
Oh, no.
Walkers and helmets.
Yep. Yeah, dude, it was not cool. And we have sung the praises up and down of the Playboy Mansion So as I'm getting over to where they normally, hang out in the vegetable section, like the fresh produce.
In the healthy section?
Helmet guy. With anyway. Thank you, a-hole. So,
don't you know we're recording a world-renowned podcast in here?
There are literally tens of people that are counting on us. Anyway, it was a huge disappointment. I couldn't believe it. We got back home and I was just like, all the trash talk and but it was because of the game, which unfortunately CSU lost 34-27.
Insult to injury.
It was bad, dude. It was like the knife was in, and then it got turned and kind of jerked up a little bit towards the heart area, the heartle section, I call it.
Yeah. Like Harry Carey, Harry Carey.
Yeah.
Which one's the announcer?
Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
Harry Carey sounds a little bit like Adam Graham. He's familiar with Adam Graham too.
How are you familiar with Adam Graham, Jimmy?
I listened to Dragnet. My dad was a cop for 38 years, and listening to Dragnet was like training to be a cop.
Yeah, Adam.
And I listened to all those episodes with Adam Graham, and Brett's impression is way off, but it's still within. That does sound like him.
And welcome to the Great Detectives of All Time Radio. But yeah, that's not the only show he does. He does the Dragnet one. He's got a whole bunch of them.
What's the Dragnet?
Dragnet is an old cop, detective show. You never saw
Jack Webb.
You never
Friday.
Detective Friday? Nothing?
No.
Oh boy, he's 26 though.
Okay.
Just let it go. Anyway, so
way before your time.
Yeah, it was a huge disappointment. The ribs were good.
Yes, excellent job on the ribs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and thank you for lunch today, by the way.
I got to throw the horns up for Fuzzies. That was excellent.
Yeah, I had the tempura fish tacos. They were excellent as usual. Just no scenery, nothing going on, except for that one girl in her.
One waitress.
Yeah, she was well hot.
Oh yeah.
But I have to watch what I say. The wife will probably be listening.
Oh, well, Jimmy was looking straight at me the entire time.
Yes.
So, yeah, that didn't turn out so good. And then the memory card not working properly. And what's going on, Mark?
I don't know. I am excited about sports.
Yeah, me too. Actually, the Avalanche, as we speak, are winning 5-1 in Washington. They're going to be 5-0 after tonight.
And I think tomorrow's Broncos game is the first Broncos game where I say, I don't really need to see it. I'm not worried about tuning in.
If they score any less than 73 points against the no-win having Jacksonville Jaguars, I will be shocked.
People have been saying that there's college teams that could give them a run for their money.
They've been predicted to not win any games this year, so that's good. Kansas City's going into hostile territory to face the Raiders. Hopefully that game is in the morning. It should be. Final score 5-1 Washington or 5-1 Colorado. Brilliant.
Wow, that turned around fast.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a big sports day. I'll probably go down and watch the Avs game, which I'm recording, and then hopefully the Kansas City Raiders game will be on TV. And if not, I'll clean my room or something. Smoke a cigar.
So, with Jimmy as guest here, we were talking earlier in between the shows.
It's so
You're
irritating.
in some paranormal kind of society, or I mean, what? I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but
Ghost Hunters, the show Ghost Hunters.
Uh-huh.
That's basically what myself and this wonderful lady Jessica Harris founded, and we would go do investigations at people's houses. We would go to historic locations and do investigations on Pueblo, Denver, all over Colorado, and everything was completely out of pocket for us. We never charged clients anything, gas, everything was on our dime, and we ended up helping a lot of people, and not with just paranormal stuff, but a lot of home safety type things that they weren't aware of. like a string of electrical cords hooked together, can cause a huge fire hazard.
So do you find that a lot of it is kind of unexplainable stuff, or is a lot of it, this was...
99% of what we found was man-made stuff.
Mm.
For instance, the sun, the solar radiation that hits us, our skin tans as a defense mechanism. Well, electricity is still in its infancy in our history, so we haven't developed an immune system to it.
Mm-hmm.
And electricity, especially clock radios, will affect people's minds.
Sorry, Brett's looking at me pissed because...
No, I'm not. I'm just looking around. I heard this earlier today, so I'm just giving you time.
Oh, okay. No, I find it interesting because I do believe that there is certain things out there that can't be explained, and
there's no ghost, there's no God, there's a perfectly rational explanation for any type of phenomenon you might encounter. Quick, call a priest, call a vicar. I believe in God.
But any crazy stories?
Oh yeah, we ran into a lot of really interesting things. I'll tell you a story real quick. When I was working for American Airlines, I was a crew chief on the ramp. TWA was going out of business. American Airlines was buying them out. I was working on a 727, getting it ready to, for the passengers and the crew. And suddenly there was a man sitting in one of the seats.
Which he
shouldn't have been there. This plane was out in a penalty box. Nobody was able to access it. This was post 9/11, so security was extremely tight. All of a sudden there's this man in a 70s blue shirt, or suit pant kind of thing, holding his chest, and he waved to me and said, "Can you help?" And he disappeared. And come to find out, this 727 was the 727 that was hijacked in Beirut, in which the pilot was shot. This was 1982, so you were a sperm back then.
Yeah. But, a twinkle in my dad's eye.
Yeah. Literally, this plane was hijacked, and a Navy SEAL was killed aboard this plane.
Really?
The person I saw was this Navy SEAL. The plane still had the bullet holes in the overhead bins.
Jeez.
And the mechanics purposely left that there for people to remember what this plane had been through.
And so what did you do? Did you have to report that? Or did people look at you crazy for reporting it?
I ran up the jet bridge as soon as we got the plane to the airport.
So this wasn't even connected to...
No, this was out in the field, basically.
Yeah.
And there was no way for this person to get aboard this plane. Because I had been walking up and down, putting blankets away, and sure enough, there he was all of a sudden.
Clear as day.
Clear as day. I could see, like Brett, he's got kind of a scruffy beard going. I could see the individual hairs. And when I saw his chest, it was red, but his shirt was blue. Well, he had been shot, and he was holding the gunshot wound. And when we got to the airport, I ran up the jet bridge and grabbed one of the flight attendants, the gate agent, and she said, "Oh, don't you know about this plane? This is the one that was hijacked in Beirut." And she pointed out the bullet holes. She pointed out the exact seat he was sitting in when he was shot. And that's kind of what started me onto the path. But at the same time, I am a devout atheist. But there's always that moment of question. And so I wanted to say, okay, is there an afterlife? What exactly is going on?
Yeah, what's your theory on it? Do you think it's kind of a spiritual thing?
I think it's kind of an evolution. We leave behind this body, but we move to the next plane of existence. Whether we start over as babies or it's a mirror image of this world, I don't know. But I do believe through years of investigations that I think there is another plane of this existence.
Raj has monkey paws.
Well, it's funny because I've never had an experience myself.
I haven't either.
But I've heard of some of my friends having experiences. But it always turns out it's oh yeah, we're down in this basement. We were, just hanging out, and there was this old house, and we saw this like kind of spirit of a child walk across the door or something. I'm not quoting really anything, but then it's like, well, what were you guys doing down in the basement? I was smoking weed and doing some mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Then it kind of makes sense. But I mean, there are some crazy stories out there that are like.
I mean, I can't really say for a fact that I'm a complete non-believer in that, because I mean, I can't say I'm a Christian and not believe in ghosts. And also, I mean, that religion completely aside from it, I can't say that I don't get creeped out in old houses. You know what I mean? And there has to be a basis behind that. And it's not movies, because movies don't scare me. I do want to see Mama, though. Mama.
Yeah.
No, Mama. But, I mean, behind that reaction of being creeped out in an old, like, house or an abandoned warehouse or whatever, there's got to be some kind of, you know, basis behind it. And it doesn't come from a fear of, I don't even know. But I mean, all
that might be exactly it, though.
What I'm
might
saying
be
is
that fear of, I don't know what's there.
Yeah, I don't know, because I honestly, I don't believe in ghosts. But then, I don't know. You guys could carry on. I really don't have that much of an opinion of it. I mean, like, graveyards don't bother me. Like I've showed you before, I used to walk through that big one over on Taft, right by Mulberry. I used to walk through there every day on my way home. I'd sit down on this one gravestone that was shaped like a bench, which was awesome.
Well, let me ask you this. Why would you be afraid of graveyards? Why would a spirit linger in a graveyard?
Well, I don't know.
There's no reason for them to be there.
I would think, I mean, the only thing that creeps me out about graveyards is the physical aspect of there being dead bodies 6 feet below the ground.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess that.
It's the only place where you can walk other than maybe the New York Giants field where Jimmy Hoffa is supposedly buried.
Yeah. I mean, graveyards have never bothered me. But, I mean, creepy old houses for sure do. And I can't really tell if it's because there's a chance that, like, anything's going on in there, or that the undead are walking around, or, well, not the undead.
Or a loose wire might come down and electrocute.
Or a fucking spider, for that matter.
Or just the architecture of some of the old houses are kind of...
Well, and I think we kind of, because of movies, you know, we kind of play it up in our head. But then I do think that we all do have a little bit of a psychic side to us, more, you know, some more than others, you know, but you might be kind of feeling what kind of love or hate or whatever emotions were trapped in that house.
Yeah.
There's certain houses, I mean, like you walk into your grandmother's house, and you just feel
Thanks for bringing that up, Jimmy. All my grandparents are dead.
So are mine, but you know what? You walk into that house, even if they're gone, and you still feel that love and, you know, that warm cookie feeling, smell, you know, you still feel that.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
My grandparents severely beat me in the basement, so I don't get.
I was gonna say something like that too,
Just
but
kidding.
it just didn't seem appropriate. Mark,
Sorry, I had to go there. But no, yeah, I do find it interesting because I've never had an experience, but I feel that maybe there's people that are more prone to it, and that's what happens.
There may be more people that are more in tune to it too. Here's the only thing that irritates me about it. Like, I've seen that Ghost Hunter show before, and I know that they have to make it more dramatic for TV.
Yeah, that's the dramatics that I don't
Yeah,
like.
it's like, oh God, something just touched me! No, it didn't.
Or they'll play the teaser right before the commercial that's like, and there was a sound, and then it shows a sound, and then they come back from commercial break, and it's like, oh, it's just a raccoon running across or something.
Or they do those recordings where they're like, if we slow it down to 1/15 the speed that it was before, you can hear someone saying "mommy." I could interpret that into 10,000 different things that it sounds like. But I guess I am kind of a skeptic, but it is interesting.
I'll say this much: it was definitely a challenge to record audio in Colorado Springs because of all the military bases there. Our recorders, like the one that you're recording on now, would pick up a lot of the radio waves from Fort Carson when they're doing their night patrols and all that stuff.
Could be interference.
Yeah, so you could be listening to what you think is a mother crying out for her children, but no, actually it's the GI yelling, hey, you guys get down over there, whatever it is.
Or it's a guy saying, breaker, 19er.
Oh, yeah.
On the CV.
Yeah, you'll catch truckers on those all the time.
132 in Bush, I got him at gunpoint. Okay, gunpoint, 132 in Bush, coverage code 3.
I remember we'd have just the baby monitors as kids, and you'd catch up like phone calls or something crazy like that. But, yeah, I think it's good to be a skeptic in that sense of looking at it. You kind of have to be. I mean, it'd be idiotic to say that there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. I really applauded the investigators that came onto the team that were complete skeptics. But they took the time and the effort to say, well, let's find out more. Like when you were looking for your car. You found a Fiero and you were like, oh, that's it.
Oh, he's heard this story.
Yeah. And then, but then you're like, oh, it's just not making sense right now.
But
and
Jimmy, here's the fucking thing, though.
You found that amazing Jag. Shut up. You found that amazing Jag.
It's my goddamn
And I got to applaud you for that Jag. That is a very, very nice car.
But here's where you're fucking up, Jimmy. He still wants the Fiero.
I understand, but at the moment, it's not feasible.
Dude, I saw a Fiero GT yesterday on my way to work. It was parked. I almost stopped to take a picture of it, but I was running a little late. One of the ones that has that weird fucking windows that go to nowhere.
Yeah.
You can just stick your hand behind it and see it.
Little fastback with no top.
Yeah, with no back. It's just fast. And it said formula across the bottom. Yeah, that's a great car.
Well, yeah.
It can always turn into a project car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy, very happy with the Jag for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
put some seat covers in it, and man, the pink will be all over you.
I hope so.
Like, oh, look at that Jag. Oh.
The pink will be all over you.
Yes.
Well, speaking
of
it's better than the brown.
Okay, we just lost every single listener that we have.
Well, speaking of the pink, if we're speaking on the pink.
I hope Stephanie Chappell is still listening. Well, I know Doreen just turned off the show.
Well, I was driving an old lady today, and
in the Jag?
No, in the company van, and she was going to visit her husband at this other facility.
Oh, that makes me sad.
And she goes, yeah, I knew him since we were 8. And we've been married for 67 years. He was a bombardier.
Oh.
And I was like, God, how boring are going to be like my generation's marriage stories? Like, we met at 27.
What do you have left to talk about?
Yeah. He was a van driver. She was a nurse.
We were standing next to each other, texting each other.
We were wasted at the Nickelback concert and.
Worst band ever.
I don't know. I couldn't think of a better one. But no, it's terrible.
I can think of a better band. Any band. Well, we just lost all of our Nickelback fan listeners.
But it is terrible because I listen to all these stories, and it's like, yeah, we traveled around the world. He was, flying a B-52 bomber, and like. God, those were men back then. Now I feel like even smaller than I already felt.
Exactly.
Oh, I have to applaud, the older generation because they were manly men. You look at people nowadays and everything is push button. What can I get delivered to my house today?
But there's also the thing of you could be a coal miner and then jump into a B-52 and get trained on it back in the day. Now you have to be like a straight A student, get a letter of recommendation from a senator, and
before you can go near a plane.
I mean, it always makes me wonder: what if some of the greatest fighter pilots back in the day would not have been accepted nowadays. But I mean, they are flying planes that are insane.
Yeah.
Now.
Speaking of that, since the government shut down, I have almost no work to do. Dude, YouTube is the greatest invention since sliced bread as far as I'm concerned. Anything that you want to see that's non-pornographic, you can see on there. I spent all day yesterday watching videos of radio-controlled airplanes crashing, people getting bit by poisonous spiders and snakes. Dude, YouTube is amazing. Like, one video gets over with, just click on another one, and it'll lead you. I mean, the pathway of what I was watching yet. Like, I started out watching, like, radio-controlled dragsters, which is about the most boring thing you could ever watch.
Radio control, like nitro fuel, or
but little.
Yeah.
But they're still 8 feet long. I mean, they're this wide. They got giant tires, but they have like a 90 cc gas-powered single-stroke engine or two-stroke engine, and I mean, I guess they're fairly fast. You couldn't really tell from the camera angle. But then that took me to radio-controlled airplane crashes. And these assholes spend like $12,000 on these actual jet-powered, that have jets in them that they have to light with a lighter to get them going. And when they crash, it's fairly spectacular. I mean, there's a fireball, everything. And then somehow I got to watching that stupid, well, I used that word in the wrong spot. There's a clip of Steve Irwin with that freaking carpet python in the river. He's like, "Snake!" And he's like,
"Danger, danger, danger."
So they cruise over. Look at that little rapper. Yeah. He's a spry little nipper. But he goes over and grabs this snake out of this tree. I might have even talked about this on another podcast.
Yeah, I think I've seen this video.
He grabs this snake out of this tree and he's like, "Oh, she's a beauty. This is the carpet python. Her bite is non-venomous, but it's very painful." And it's like, dude, just biting the hell out of him, like blood's running down his arm. He's like, "Argh!" And finally, I guess he lets it go or whatever. But it's just so hilarious that guy was an idiot, really.
Well,
I mean,
I think he loved animals so much that, like, even when they were tearing him to shreds, he just figured, I don't want to throw this baby down. I'm going to let it get its anger out and then slowly put it back where it came from.
Readers, if I've already said this on the podcast, I apologize for repeating things because I hate that. But I remember the first time I ever saw Steve Irwin on The Crocodile Hunter. It might have been episode 1, I'm not sure, but he's like, right. Anyway, he's like, "This village has asked me to come and they have a giant crocodile in their drinking water pool. I'm going to go get it out." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." I'm like, if something cool doesn't happen in the next 50 seconds, I'm turning this off. So he gets to this pool, complete like chocolate milk water. You can't see shit in it. And he just jumps into it. I'm like, "Yeah, there's a crocodile in there, right?" And he's like, "Oh, crikey. She just swam past my leg." I'm like, "All right, I'm changing it in 3, 2. He dives underneath that water and he comes up with a fucking crocodile that's like the size of a tree trunk. He's got it by the head and he like pulls its head up out of the water. I'm like, okay, if this isn't bullshit, that guy's an idiot. And I don't think I ever changed my opinion of him because, I mean, he's got way bigger nuts than I do, for sure. But I remember at the time thinking that if this wasn't planned, like if that thing wasn't being held underwater by something so that he could get a hold of it, this is the stupidest human being I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like, to go underwater where you can't see fuck all and grab like a 9 or 10 foot long crocodile and pull it up to the surface and get it out of there and then tie its mouth up and take it somewhere else and let it go. I was like, either this was planned and staged or this is the stupidest human being I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean...
Opinions? Thoughts?
He died doing what he loved. I'll say that.
I guess if he loved swimming with stingrays, he did die doing that.
Oh, you pricked me.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with, like, the grizzly man.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people would say, or a lot of people would see the grizzly bears and run and stay as far away from them as possible. He said, I want to try and live with them, and
He did.
He did.
he did.
Well, you know where he fucked up, right? He'd still be alive right now. He stayed about 2 weeks longer than he should have. To where I think he was waiting for his girlfriend to show up, and then they were going to leave together. But he stayed in Alaska like 2 or 3 weeks longer than he normally did, to where these bears were getting ready to hibernate, and they were eating everything they could find. They were starving, and they were running out of food. The salmon weren't spawning, so they couldn't get those. They were eating everything they could find before they went and hibernated, and he just stayed there a couple weeks too long.
And they said, this guy's been nice to us, but we're hungry.
Yeah, killed him and his girlfriend, I think.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
And there's some kind of like audio footage that apparently no one will ever hear.
No, I think they play the audio footage. Or just the audio.
Yeah,
I've never heard
wasn't it just the video that they didn't...
I think it was the video.
Locked up the video.
All I know is that at the end of the documentary, was there a series about it as well, or was there just the documentary?
Yeah, wasn't there a little bit of series or something?
There was.
Might have been a documentary turned into a series or something, a few episodes.
Yeah, it could have been. But I know that they were listening to the dude's mom or whatever was listening to the audio, and they said that I've tried a million times to find it. There's fake ones out there of the audio, and there's joke ones like, "Oh fuck, he's eating my fucking foot," or stuff like that. But I don't think that the audio is available. I think that one person owns it, and they'll never play it for anyone.
Maybe.
I'd love to hear it,
yeah.
and I'm not being trying to be weird or anything. What's that word called when you take pleasure in someone else's pain? We talked about that.
Masochistic?
No, never mind, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Morbid, but that's not the right one.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be morbid. I just think it would be interesting. And I spent 2 hours of my life watching the documentary. I think I deserve it. And if that guy wasn't gay, he missed his chance. That's all I'm saying. Because he really came off as gay in that. Or maybe I shouldn't even say gay, because have you seen the documentary or the
No,
Grizzly?
I haven't.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, but
he comes off really I guess I shouldn't say gay, just not really caring what people thought of him or anything like that. He just has a real... have you ever heard Andy Dick talk? Andy Dick apparently is bisexual. Who knows? I can't stand the guy. But anyway, he sounds and kind of looks like Andy Dick.
Yeah.
really,
Do you know who Andy Dick is?
Yeah.
Okay.
of course.
Yeah, from News Radio or whatever it was with Joe Rogan. But yeah, I don't know, man. I felt really bad for the guy because I think that he had the best intentions, but he's a fucking idiot for doing what he did.
Absolutely, and then there's a sense of, that's what he wanted to do.
That's true,
Yeah.
and good for him. And again, he's another one like Steve Irwin. He died doing what he loved. I guess if Steve Irwin would have been swimming in that spot 2 weeks earlier, that wouldn't have happened.
Which I forget who does this joke, but it's like, I don't want to die doing what I love, because I want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
I want to die sitting at the DMV or something.
Exactly. God, that reminded me of something, too, that I might have already said. Oh, yeah, that thing about Hugh Hefner. When Hugh Hefner dies, no one will ever say, he's in a better place now. No, he's not. He's not at King Soopers anymore.
Oh, Hugh.
But, when it comes to those nature show guys, though, as far as I'm concerned...
There goes the last of the listeners.
Yeah, no. The one last person was just like, you know what, Brett? If you can't think of somebody's name, I'm turning this off.
Dead air. Next.
Yep. Yeah. They're all listening to the Joe Rogan Experience now.
Dang it. We lost another listener.
Jeff Corwin.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, Jeff Corwin's the best, I think. If he's not as smart as he comes off, he's got someone talking into his ear that's telling him. I remember I'll give you 2 examples of why I think he's so fucking great. He's hilarious. He has a great sense of humor. Like, I remember there was one show where he was like, he came upon this beach, like out of the woods, and came upon this beach, and he's like, look at all this garbage everyone's left on this beach, and it's like scattered with what looks like trash. And then he starts running towards it, and all the trash disappears. It's these little white crabs that run into their holes when he runs up. And then there was another time where he was like, oh, look at this big hole in this tree. I wonder what's in there. Like, and he's in the middle of like the rainforest, and there's a huge hole about the size of a basketball. And he just sticks his hand in there, and he's like, ah! And he starts freaking out like there's something trying to jerk him in there, and he pulls his hand out, and there's a fucking frog in his hand, or a toad that's the size of a volleyball.
I'm having flashbacks of Flash Gordon from the 1980s because apparently you remember when the guy reaches his arm into that like tree.
I just know the name Flash Gordon, but I don't. I can't say if
apparently
I've
I'm the
watched
only
any episodes.
sci-fi nerd here.
Dude, I like the bad ones. See, you're more into like the superhero movies and like the good. I want the ones where you can see the strings holding up the tentacle, you know, like green slime.
Flash Gordon, these giant plastic wings strapped to the back of people's outfits, and you can see the strings. This is not like early 1980s.
You had me at giant plastic wings.
You've seen it.
I'm sure I have back in the day. I have the fucking 1930s cereal.
Pierce Bronson. He was in Flash Gordon. He was one of the woodland warriors or whatever they call them. But they stick their arms in this giant tree, and there's like some kind of scorpion thing in there.
Have you seen? Are you a new sci-fi movie guy?
Old?
Have you seen Gravity yet?
No, haven't seen that.
I guess that's not sci-fi, really.
Yeah, I don't like going to the movie theaters. They get bent when you smoke and drink a beer in there.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't go to movies because I smoke too much.
We'll rent movies on Netflix, and then I gauge how good the movie is by how many times I go for a smoke break. You know, certain movies,
so the less
like
is
the new
more.
Star Trek, Into Darkness, one smoke break.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to.
I
liked it. Have you seen the first new Star Trek?
Yeah.
It was good. It was probably a 3 smoke breaker for me, but I mean, it was really. I don't even remember where I saw it. I might have gotten it out of a red box.
Okay, so here's a big question: Avatar. What'd you feel on Avatar?
Never seen it.
Avatar, it wasn't bad. It definitely had some boring moments. It's like, you know, it just kind of started to lag on.
I liked it.
It was all right though.
It was. I think it's a weird thing that everyone does now, which is like the big movie. People just want to be first to talk crap about it.
I've never seen it.
I thought it was good. I saw it in 3D. The 3D was pretty good. So.
I saw the previews for it, and it just didn't look. See, I'm a bad sci-fi guy. I want Godzilla versus Rodan. I want people in suits crushing Tokyo and shit. You know what I mean? I'm not really into the newer, and even me and Jimmy were talking about this earlier today. By the way, I had a great day hanging out with you. It may not have seemed like it. I may have seemed bored.
I'm very disappointed in the lack of girls.
Yeah.
But I got to hang out with you.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And I may have seemed like I was kind of distant or whatever. I'm not used to sitting and talking to someone all day long. I didn't feel like I had to entertain you by any means at all. I just like...
What a great host.
Yeah, I know. Like, I felt bad. I didn't know if you wanted to go do something or if, you know, what the hell was going on.
Some of my best memories of you was just sitting here like we're doing now. Just BSing.
Yeah.
You know.
So we had a fucking fantastic day, I thought. But See, you're more of the real sci-fi. Like Stephanie Chappell, one of our listeners, hopefully she still listens, who fucking knows.
We lost her 20 minutes ago.
Probably. But, like, you're into Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
You're into, like, go on.
I've been into Doctor Who since the 70s. I grew up watching Doctor Who. I love Firefly. I wish it would come back. Judge Dredd, the new movie Dredd. I love that movie. I am the biggest Judge
Red
Dredd
Dwarf.
fan. Red Dwarf.
Brilliant.
We would sit there and bounce.
Dwarf.
You never seen Red Dwarf? It's a kind of like a. Have you seen? You've probably never even seen the old. And I shouldn't have said never even seen. That came out wrong, but you've probably never seen the original series of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Have you?
Yeah.
With Zaphod with his head on the side. Stuff like I got into that more
space
recently.
comedy.
Yeah, space comedy. But like Doctor Who, I never got into at all. You should check out Red Dwarf. But like I was telling you earlier, that every time I think about watching Red Dwarf on Netflix, I hit Red Dwarf, and then at the bottom of the screen, it gives me other options. And every time I see Black Adder, and I'm like, Red Dwarf, Black Adder, I have to watch Black Adder.
Ooh, there's an idea, a Blackadder crochet codpiece.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
Ooh, I could use one of those. I'm freezing my ass off right now.
Yeah, or a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy crocheted towel.
Yeah, there you go.
Better.
Crystal, make it so. But yeah, I'm more into like bad sci-fi.
Very 60s, 70s.
Yeah, black and white is even better. Like any of these Amazon women on the moon, or it doesn't. That's just one that came to my head. Couldn't care less about the women because you're not going to see any naked broads in old movies. But I just love when they were trying really hard to make it realistic, which just makes it worse.
But with the old movies, they had to put so much more into the story.
Right. The
Right
storyline
now,
is way deeper and more thought out.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorites is Missile to the Moon, because there's.
Yep.
And when Mystery Science Theater 3000 did Missile to the Moon, I literally wanted to spit in my hand, and I'm just going to leave it right there. You know what I mean? Because that's always been one of my favorite old sci-fi movies, and then MST3K just made it so much better. Like they were saying the exact same shit that I was saying about it, like when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love that movie. I love Mystery Science Theater 3000, Joel Hodgson, all those guys. The best.
All right. I haven't heard or seen any of the past 20 movies you guys have mentioned, but they all sound
well. The greatest
very
movie
brilliant.
ever made, bar none, is The Green Slime. Dude, I might even look on YouTube tonight.
It's not on there.
It's not.
I look.
Dude, it is the greatest color sci-fi movie ever made, bar none.
Is that like The Blob?
No, it happens in space.
Oh.
These astronauts. There's so many fucked up things about that movie. Like, they even mentioned during the movie, well, no life has ever been found in space. Oh, really? Then why do you guys have giant guns when you're out on the asteroid that you're trying to blow up so it won't hit Earth? If nothing living has ever been found in space, how come you have these giant chrome rifles?
And they're all Boy Scouts. Be prepared. Just in
I
case.
guess so. Luciana Paluzzi's in it. Richard Jekyll, Robert Horton. I mean, it is. Me and Jimmy have probably, and this is a conservative estimate, we've probably watched that movie together 40 times.
Oh, I was going to say at least 50.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant.
Literally, he would take one character, I would take the other, and we would just recite lines back and forth during the movie. We knew it that well.
And even just like tiny little nuances like this little smile that Richard Jekyll does. he started fucking doing it one time when I didn't even realize it, but then I was like,
Rum and Coke came out of his nose. Classic.
I could literally watch that movie in one day. If I had a day off, I could watch that movie 9 times, just front to back, over and over. And even the opening song, it's like one of these like early pop, like something that the Monkees would have done. Green fly, da, 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 da. I love it.
Wow.
You know what I found out, not to get off subject here, but that song Phenomena with the Muppets?
Yeah.
Phenomena.
Mana.
Do you know where that song originated from?
No.
An Italian porn.
Really?
What?
Jim Henson actually stole the soundtrack for that song out of an Italian softcore porn, and had the Muppets do it, and it just everybody just fell in love with it.
That's how you know there wasn't internet back then, because then someone would have said, "Oh, they stole that from this."
And by the way,
softcore
Jimmy,
porn
I know you're a guest on our show. We don't talk about porn here, all right?
We
don't go blue.
It was a useless fact. You know, I thought I'd throw it out there.
We do not go blue on this show ever.
Now I could see it in a softcore, though. You know.
Yep.
Phenomena. And at this point, we'll bring it to Frank Turner to close it out for the night.
Might as well. What I want to know is what's Philip doing out there? He's blowing himself up with the grill.
Well, thank you, Jimmy, for stopping by.
Jimmy, thanks to you, dude. It was a great day. Another great show, hopefully. And we'll talk to you guys. I guess I'll see you when I see you.
There you go.
See you when I see you.